Hey guys, Jacqueline here, and welcome to part 17 of how to make a 2D RPG in Unity. In this video, we're going to be going ahead and creating a hoe, which we will then equip and use to interact with the ground. So let's dive right in. The first thing that we're going to need to do is import a couple of sprites for our hoe item. So you want to navigate to your sprites folder in your assets, and then we'll go ahead and just add that sprite sheet right in there. So in the characters pack from Shooby Booby on itch.io, you will see if you go into the separate area and click on hoe, and then in tools, they have a ton of these just various versions of the tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the first one that is going to work for me right now. And then with that imported, we want to go ahead and set it up. So with the hoe selected in the inspector, we'll just go right down the list. So we'll change the sprite mode to multiple since it's sprite sheet. We'll go ahead and set the pixels per unit to 16 since all of our characters and tiles are 16 by 16. Then we'll go ahead and change our filter mode from bilinear to point and our compression mode to none. And these two settings are just going to make sure that our sprites are super crisp so they look exactly the way we want them to. And then I'll hit apply. And then we'll need to go ahead and cut out the sprite that we need. So we'll open up our sprite editor. In the sprite editor, I'm just going to grab this sprite here from the hoe animation. This is a good one, I think, just to have as a collectible item. So we'll go ahead and cut that out. So you could just drag and click and drag to make a slice and then just make it the size that you need. So that's what I did there real quick. And then when you're done, just go ahead and hit apply at the top. And as soon as that's applied, you can go ahead and close the sprite editor. All right, so now that we have our hoe sliced, if you click on this little arrow, you should see that underneath the sprite sheet here. And we can go ahead and click and drag this into our scene. Also, I am using a different version of Unity than the previous half of this series. I am actually using 22.3.8 F1 now. I recently got a new computer and I upgraded, so things might look a little different. In this version, whenever I make changes to the sprite, they don't always save when I apply the changes. So afterwards, you might get this little pop-up here. If you do get this pop-up, make sure you hit save. Otherwise, none of your changes are going to be saved from slicing that. So you want to go ahead and hit save. All right, with that saved, we can go ahead and look at our sprite. It actually looks like it's below the other layers in the scene, so it's actually underneath my tile map. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on that and change the order and layer on the sprite renderer from 0 to like 5, just to make sure it's above the ground, and then make sure it's above the interactable map. All right, so that looks good to me. So we'll leave that there. I'm going to go ahead and also change the name of this from hoe_0 in the hierarchy. I'm going to do this by pressing F2, or you can just right click and click on rename, and that will do the same thing. So I'm just going to name this hoe and then underscore collectible, just because this is also going to be a collectible. And then we need to go ahead and set up this as a collectible. So really, I think the best thing to do is actually just scrap everything I've done so far. We're just going to delete this out of the scene. We can go ahead and take one of these carrot seeds and just like right click on it, and we'll unpack the prefab. So if you right click, go to prefab, and then choose unpack completely. This is going to make this specific instance in our scene no longer a prefab, so then we can easily make changes to it. And then with that one unpacked, we're going to go ahead and press F2 or right click rename to rename that to hoe_collectible. All right. And now we're going to make this our hoe so that we actually don't have to set up anything on the collectible. It's actually just already set up for us here in the inspector. But we will have to make a few changes. The first thing that we want to do is probably change the sprite from a carrot seed pack. So to do that, we'll just go ahead and drag in our hoe sprite into our sprite renderer. So we'll just click and drag that. And you'll notice that this is considerably larger than our carrot seed pack and that the box collider doesn't really fit this. So we'll need to update the box collider. We should just be able to reset it. So if we go to box collider 2D and then reset, so click these three little dots, click reset, and that should make it the size of our sprite. And that is pretty much all we have to do to set up our actual object. The only other thing we need to do is create a new data for our hoe, because it's not a carrot seeds, it's actually a hoe. And then this will help it make it so it actually like looks correct in our inventory and can be added to our inventory. So let's go ahead and head over to our assets folder. And then inside the assets folder, you want to find your items, and we'll click into there. And then we'll go ahead and right click and create a new item data. So it should be right here at the top if you followed along in our previous video. So we'll click that. And then I'm going to name mine just simply hoe, since this is a hoe. And then with the hoe selected in the inspector, I'm going to go ahead and change the item name from item name to hoe as well. And then, of course, we need to change the icon. So if we click out of this right now, this is going to actually go away. So let's go ahead and lock the inspector. That way we can click over to our sprites folder and this will just remain there. We don't have to like hunt it down again. It's very annoying. So with that locked, we'll go to our sprites folder and we'll grab our hoe and stick that in our icon. And that is everything that we need to do. All we need now is to just click on our hoe collectible, unlock our inspector, and then drag our new data into this. Or you can just press this little dot here, like I'm going to, and select hoe, which will change the item data. And then we can create a prefab from our new items. So we'll head over to our prefabs folder. So we'll go back to assets, go to prefabs, and then we'll just drag our hoe collectible right in there. Nice. All right, so that is setting up our hoe collectible. Now we can just verify that it all works and gets added to our inventory. So if we want to go ahead and hit play, and as soon as this is done compiling, we will walk into it. Oh, interesting. I think the hoe does not have a trigger. Okay, so that did not get copied when I duplicated that. All right, so we'll set that trigger. That makes me think that these are not set up correct, but they are. Oh, right, because we reset the box collider, so that actually unchecked this. So just make sure the is trigger is still checked. If you hit play and walked into your hoe and it didn't is triggered, that would be why it's probably this is trigger. Because when we right click reset it, it became unchecked. So just make sure that the is trigger is checked on your box collider on your hoe. All right, so we'll save that. And then we'll also go apply that to our new prefab. So you want to go up to the overrides tab, and then we can just select apply all, since we only have the one change. All right, now we can hit play. And once this is done compiling, we'll walk into it and see if it worked. Okay, so there we go. It disappeared. Let's open up our inventory by pressing tab. And we can see that we have a hoe in our inventory. And we should be able to click and drag this into any of our slots. All right, so now that this is able to add to our inventory, we also need to make sure that we can remove it. And to do this, previously we had set up a drag and drop feature where we could drop this out of our inventory. But you'll see that this actually isn't working and that it's not applying for our players. So we'll see our player didn't drop it. And this is because we need to set up our item manager in order to drop this item. So let's go ahead and stop playing and then click on our game manager in the hierarchy. We'll go ahead and go to our item manager and we'll add our item here. So we'll just go ahead, add another item, and then we'll pull that in from the prefabs folder. So go back to your prefabs folder and just grab the hoe and drop it on the second item in there. And we should be able to hit play and then be able to drop this off of our inventory. So let's go ahead and we'll walk into that. And now when I click and drag off, it actually does disappear and you do see it in the scene. So now our collectible is working. We can pick it up, we can put it in the inventory, we can drag it around, and we can remove it from our inventory. Right. Awesome work, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you're anxious to find out when another video is going to be coming out, hit that notification bell to get notified when another one's released. If you haven't joined our Discord already, please feel free to join it. The link is in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.